And greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Soul Citizens. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and I'm here today. What is this today? This is the April the 28th. We're almost at the end of April, and we're back with you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here with us. I am joined today by my good friend, co-host, co-producer himself, the one and the only fastcart FC. FC, how are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm doing well. How about you?
That's good. I'm doing good. Can you believe it? We are almost at the end of April, going into May. Time is flying by. I don't know if it's because we're getting older. I mean, is time flying by for you? Because it's like feeling like it's flying by.
And it is because we're getting older. There was a scientific research study. I heard about it a decade ago. When you're young, like when you're 5 years old or so like that, time seems to fly. Time seems to travel 3 times as slow. So
really,
if you're sitting in the car with your parents for an hour, it seemed like 3 hours to a child.
Yeah.
But eventually that catches up, and then it surpasses when you get old. Like 3 minutes can seem like 1 minute to you.
Well, there are plenty of parents out there that would tell you that when you're a parent sitting in the car with your child, it feels like 3 hours takes forever too. So I guess it's a matter of how you want to look at it, right? But yeah, no, it is funny. I remember when I was a kid and in school, when summer would come, when school was out, it felt like summer lasted forever, right? And now it's like summer zooms by. It's like, all of a sudden it's like time for Christmas, and it's like, I thought we just had Christmas. You know what I mean? It's like everything just seems to be happening so fast.
I just had a birthday.
Yeah, there you go. Right. In fact, we're going to be celebrating yours again in 6 months. Lynn's Nation, right. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you being here and joining us today for Soul Citizens. Hey, listen, we are happy to be here with you guys. We are going to be doing our show today on Update 323. As you guys know, a lot of times when we program out these shows, we plan out these shows, we try to read the tea leaves a little bit, see where CIG is, where things are. It had been my hope that this would have been NPTU for everybody. I think it's at Wave 3 in EPTU. So I'm sure most of you, if you haven't played it, you've probably seen plenty of videos of other people who have been streaming it, playing it, and showing the state of the game and all the new features that are coming in. And I talked about this a little bit on Voices yesterday, but Fastcart and I both attended CitizenCon last year in Los Angeles. And one of the things that came out of that CitizenCon, I remember Fastcart, you and I talked about this, was the fact that CIG broke one of their almost in-house rules that they've had for the last several years.
I was going to say Cardinal.
Yeah. One of their in-house rules was that not to talk about when, right? Not to say when things are going to happen. People will come on SCL sometime and want to ask the devs, when is this going to happen, or when are you going to do that? And the old answer used to be when it's ready, right? But when we went to CitizenCon last year, one of the things that shocked both Fastcart and I was that not only did Chris Roberts get up, but some of the devs got up and gave timetables for things that they wanted to be able to complete and have in our hands. And that was unusual. As most of you guys know, many years ago, CIG would sometimes get burned, would get ripped because they would put out a timetable. In fact, that was one of the issues with the roadmap that, and if they didn't deliver within those time frames, then people weren't too happy about it. And so
I want to say it changed around 2016 that they stopped giving dates.
Yeah.
That was a famous date for Squadron 42 friendship. But then after that, they said it's ready when it's ready. But, before then, they would constantly give dates and they would constantly missed it. So they learned their lesson. Yeah. So this was a departure from that.
It was. So I think one of the first things that we heard when we were at CitizenCon was, I don't remember who the dev was, but they made a statement, and the statement was something along the lines of, we want to have these things in your hands within the next year. And that was, it was Chris. It was Chris who said it. And that was speaking from October of last year to obviously October of this year. And, I said, okay, 12 months. That's pretty interesting, because we saw a lot of stuff, right? FC, a lot of the Squadron 42 stuff. They said they want to migrate that into the persistent universe. And of course it was exciting because we, again, had never heard that. It probably had some cynicism too, because there were people from the old days who remember when Chris used to put out dates before and, didn't go so well. And Chris would even stop, but sometimes he'd want to say something. He would catch himself. I better not say anything or else the people are going to kill me, right? He would actually stop himself, right? So he says he wants to do these things.
The boss.
Right. And he's the boss, right? So then we get to the end of the year, December, when 322 comes out. And then Disco says, we've got some things that we want to get into your hands within the next 6 months. A lot of stuff that you saw back in October. So again, it's like, okay, that was 2 months ago. Now it's 2 months later. Now you're saying within the next 6 months, that's by June, you want to get some stuff in our hands from what we saw in from CitizenCon. And lo and behold, fastcart, we get this patch 323, which many people thought was going to be a quote. What I heard people say was, and it's funny, a nothing patch. I mean, I don't know. It's like every year,
every patch is a nothing patch.
It's a nothing patch. It's not going to have a lot in it, or it's a small thing.
It's like, like a few years ago, every patch was a Jesus patch. Now everything is a nothing patch.
It's a nothing patch, right? We just pivot swings the other way, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I know that's a relative statement because sometimes people are maybe looking for more gameplay features. Sometimes it's more technical based, right? Sometimes it's something that's more quality of life based. So it varies on what you want to consider, whether or not a patch is full or has a lot of things in it. Envoy, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a bit. Envoy 70, thank you so much. Maybe you've been here, but thank you for the sub. We appreciate you for 30 months. Thank you.
30 months.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a long time. And Chip Regal, thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate that. So anyway, back to this whole thing about the time frames and the patches and all this stuff. So then we get this patch, and this patch, fastcart, has a lot of. If I were to evaluate this patch, I would say, Pop said something yesterday on the other show about placeholder versus final result, right? And to me, there's a lot of things that are in this patch that maybe they were in the game before, but now we're getting the final version of it. Like a lot of stuff they said is coming from Squadron. You know what I'm saying? Like the HUD, for example, right? The UI. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? We've had that funky UI for a while. Now we're getting and mind you, they're going to continue to build out on it, but it's much more.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's more closer to the product that they want to give us. Same thing with the star map, right? Another great example, right? So we've been living with that star map since God created dirt, and now we get this new star map that has a lot of cool features, and they're still building it out, right? Even while we're testing it, they're still doing things.
Because I want to say that people are planning, or we are planning it here, that this game is going to be continuing on for 10, 15 years. So
yeah.
Even though this may be. Thank you for the sub. No, thank you for the follow.
Radar Echo.
Thank you for the follow. But people are saying, this game may be around for 20 years. So even though we may have a 1.0 or 4.0 version coming up with 303, and in 5 years they may improve upon that again. So yeah, this
true.
Is not I don't want to say this is the final thing, but this is like a 1.0 or 4.0 stuff.
Yeah. Again, it's putting us closer to what they feel represents the game in a good way, right? So what we're going to do for you guys today, we're going to do the show a little bit differently. Fastcart's going to kind of do, for those of you who know, FC keeps his distance from the game. He doesn't want to spoil the game. He wants the full experience when he steps into it. And so going into the PTU is, as most of you guys know, something he does not do. So this gives us an opportunity for him to ask me questions about the game, and ask you, by the way, too. So feel free to give your comments as well. Ask me my thoughts and comments about what I've observed in 323. And as we go through the show a little bit more, he's going to be kind of doing the interview side of this thing. So I know. So it's Bluesy, you're the same, right? You're holding off as well.
I mean, mostly because the economy isn't there for me yet, and I'm waiting for certain steps to get in the game before I hop in.
So let me ask you a question. If the economy were to drop in the game, are you saying that you would be tempted to jump into the PTU and stuff?
Yes, a lot more, really? Yes. And matter of fact, with the new Arena Commander is tempting me too, because I got to get I had to program my voice attack profile again with my voice to hop in. So yeah, we will see.
All right, we will see. We will see. Okay, so here's another thing too. As you guys know, 323 was chock full of a lot of different things that they were working on. Some of those things did not make it into the patch, and we're going to cover some of those at the very end. What we are going to cover today are the things that we know that we are testing right now, that we're playing around with. Some of this may be I'm not sure about, because I've not tested everything. There's a lot of stuff here. A lot of this stuff I can talk about. Some of it I can only comment about in relation to maybe just very lightly, so bear with me here, okay? I wish I could say that I knew all this stuff through and through, but I know enough of it that I can have a conversation with fastcart about it, and he may also ask some questions about it in relation to how the game has been in the past and why people feel that 323 is a turning point for the game. Now, I know there's some people who
For
may...
those of you in chat, you can discuss your opinions and your experience too. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We would love to see that. There may be some people who may feel that 323 is not a turning point. Consin1, thank you so much for that follow. Thank you. And that's okay. If you feel that you're not seeing enough significant things in there happening, that's fine. Some people feel there are some significant things in there. I think that it's more of a turning point for them that's signaling some things. I could be wrong, but I think that this is kind of, again, based on what happened in CitizenCon, the fact that they're delivering this stuff within such a quick time frame is another thing. fastcart, one of the things, I don't know if you know about this because you haven't been in the PTU. When this patch launched, I want to say CIG almost daily, maybe one day, maybe 2 days, did not drop a patch the next day. You know, normally when they would put out a patch in the PTU, you might have to wait 2 or 3 days, you know, go through some stuff, and maybe you get a patch. Maybe sometimes it would be 4 days, 5 days before a new patch would come out. They literally were putting out patches every evening, you know, based upon what was going on, which was totally different, right? And I wonder if...
Go ahead. And based what I've been reading from Show Talk and Pasto, they had different focuses for specific patches. So I think that's probably what we're seeing.
They did in the beginning. In the beginning, they started out with a few things. They did this with Evocati, right? They started out with just a few things, and they do this, right? They did some things they want them to focus on, and then they start building it out. But recently, last week, they were dropping patches every day. And the reason why I'm saying that is because remember I was talking about how some of this is a sign or a turning point. And I think it's a sign of the fact that when CIG said that they were moving their resources from Squadron 42 to the Persistent Universe, I think Captain Serious Fun said this yesterday. We've never seen the Persistent Universe being worked on with all hands on deck before. This is the first time, right? Because they've always been splitting the project between those two things. So now they've said, listen, we're going to put all of our work and emphasis and our priority now from Squadron into the Persistent Universe. And maybe that's why they're able to put out patches. You see what I'm saying? So quickly, where before they told us their resources had been moved over to Squadron, you know, and we had to wait a little bit longer. Now, to me, that's one of those signs.
To be fair, there are still some resources on Squadron because they are policing and trying to get...
and mind you, I didn't say all the resources. I just said priority, right? That's all I'm saying. The priority has switched. They're obviously still working on Squadron. We just got the newsletter last week. They're still doing stuff with Squadron. But I am saying that what is different is that patches are coming out faster. What is different is that the staff was moved over resource-wise, right? And so I'm saying hopefully that is promising for the future, right? That instead of like people feeling like it takes forever for some change to happen, that now that change will start happening faster. There's no guarantee, but I'm just hoping that that's a signal, you know, one of those signals with 323. Okay. So let's go ahead and start hitting this from the very beginning, fastcart. We've got a bunch of things listed here, and there's some things I'm going to read this list to you guys, and then fastcart's going to kind of do the interview here. Stability was the main focus for this patch. Right at the very beginning, they talked about stability. Implementing Vulkan, Arena Commander 3.23 with the engineering mode in there that we had to test out, AI improvements, introduction to fauna, full character customizer revamp, Mobiglass rework, the new star map, interior map, and mini map, EVA V2, the new loot screen, the new visor and lens, the full FPS combat refactor, backpack reloading, ammo respooling, I think that's supposed to be, I don't know. Dynamic crosshair, physical shopping UI, server crash recovery, PIE and PIS, and default item actions, and the master mode. Those are the things that we're going to touch on. Go ahead.
And just from that list right there, I don't understand how people can say this is a nothing patch. But hey, people have their opinions.
No, absolutely. Yeah, socially confused. You're not wrong. The game had been running pretty good. You know, every once in a while you get a little server thing going on. But this weekend, after that patch on Friday, yuck. The game runs. Here's the deal. It's always this weird trade-off, right? Performance on the game. Let's talk about that because our first topic is stability, fastcart.
Okay.
The game was running ultra smooth, right? I mean, like really, really good, right? But this weekend, after this patch on Friday, we've been getting server errors, you know, where the server will crash out. You'll get this message saying server error, please wait. When it first happened in the earlier patches, FC, it would take maybe 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, and then it would recover, right? And you'd have to wait a few minutes for the database to reload, like your inventory would start coming back in and stuff like that. But now we've been getting them, and sometimes the wait is 2 minutes, sometimes it's 5-6 minutes, and then it happens again. and then it happens again. And so that's been like the real issue this weekend. Now, of course, CIG is the weekend. We didn't get any patches this weekend. I was hoping we were going to get one yesterday, but that was dreaming. So maybe it won't be until Monday. If nothing else, they've got a lot of data from this weekend for why it's going on. But this has actually been something that has been a blocker when you're playing the game. Sometimes you'll be in your cockpit and maybe you can turn on and off the ship or wipe your visor, but you can't get out of the seat. It's a weird server thing that's going on right now.
So I have a question for you then regarding stability. When this is happening, it probably doesn't matter, but how many people are you seeing on the server?
I've seen it happen with 20 people on the server. I've seen it with a full server.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of thought maybe it had something to do with one of the things that they implemented was the Xenothreat thing. We thought maybe that was it. We've been trying to figure out like what changed, like what was so different in this patch that made it like it happens across the server like that. Don't know, and it's not a 30K. You know what I mean? My friend Vavrick said that he spent 3.5 hours getting from one location to the other, only because he decided to ride it out every time the server error came up. Instead of quitting, he stayed and waited for it to recover. But he said it happened like 11 times, over a 3.5 hour period. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but it has been frustrating. And it's everywhere. It doesn't make a difference where you are. I don't care if you're in R-Corp or Microtech. The one thing I've noticed is that it seemed like it didn't happen when I was at space stations as much, but it definitely happened when I was on moons. Definitely happened when I was at landings. Just distribution centers were really freaking out. Distribution centers were really bad.
One thing that has changed is they're on wave 3 or wave 4 now, right? So more people are on the server. So I'm not saying that is an issue, but that is something that has changed.
Okay. Thanks, Lens. We see you. Thank you for that heads up. Thank you. Looks like Meg might be getting ready to do a raid over here, so she'll be here in a minute, I think. Okay.
Very happy to be here.
Lost Buffering. Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you for the follow.
Okay, so that's the thing on stability. All I want to say is that there is this. In this fast card, let's talk about why stability is important with Invictus launch week coming up. Maybe you could talk about
318.
That. Well, no, I don't want to talk about 318. 318 is different from Invictus launch week. I want to say something about that. Because everybody keeps throwing 318 up like that was the first time we ever had something bad happen in the game.
It's not. It's the most recent.
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, 318, okay. And I'm sorry, guys. I know 318 hurt a lot of y'all feelings because it hurt mine too, okay? But that ain't the first time that we've had something really bad happen in the game. It was bad. Yeah, 3.0 was bad. But it was bad. Don't get me wrong. But what I'm talking about this time, fast card, is why the game needs to be stable for free flight in IF, and if it's launch weeks. Maybe talk about that a little bit. The history on that, if you want to talk about that.
Oh, so yeah, Invictus Launch Week is, the annual event where CIG has like a military, I don't want to say propaganda, but in game it is propaganda. Oh, thank you for the raid. They welcome raiders.
Hey, double dogs, woof woof. Thank you, Meg. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the follow.
Welcome everybody.
You're welcome.
Folks, we're talking about, hang on, hold on. We're talking about update 3.23, gang. Fast Cart's kind of giving us a speech about Invictus Flight Week and stability, but that's what our topic is today. We're just kind of doing a review on that. So thank you guys for hanging out. Meg, hope you had a great stream. And all the double doggers, thank you guys for coming over and hanging out with us. We always appreciate you guys, especially your support with Meg. She's one of our own. Doctor, thank you for that community sub. We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, FC, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Invictus Launch Week, I don't know why Griffin keep on saying flight, but Invictus Launch
Week. I can't get a flight. I'm sorry. I keep saying flight.
It's fine. But yeah, starting 2020, and it became an annual thing, but it started in 2020, where the military it's like a recruitment drive to join DUE, and it happens every year around in around the 3rd or 4th week of May, and that's where there are different manufacturers get together and display the military ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So but you were supposed to be explaining why stability is important to Free fly.
Oh, because I got distracted.
He got distracted.
So
he gets easily distracted, y'all. Squirrel.
Stability is important because during Invictus launch week, the CIDs tend to have a free fly. And that free fly is when people can create an account and not have a game package and get the game, play the game and fly the ships for free. And mostly it's the military ship by manufacturing by days.
Yeah. And a few years ago, we had an Invictus where the game really was not ready when Invictus kicked off. And the first day was horrible. It was really, really bad. So I think it's really important for CIG, especially now in light of all that's going on with preparing for Squadron 42, CitizenCon this year, just in general. I think they really want to make sure that when people are invited to come play the game, whether they're new players or whether they're you vets out there, that the game is stable and people can enjoy Invictus Launch Week, ILW. So, stability is important. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit the next one, Fastcart. What's our next topic we got there?
Next topic is implementing Vulkan.
Vulkan. Yeah, let me change. I forgot. I'm supposed to be changing the screen. Jeez, oh, Pete. Let me get over there and do that.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I'm supposed to have a different screen up. Implementing Vulkan. Yeah, let's talk about this. They've been talking about Vulkan for how long now, Fastcart? It's been, what, 5 years maybe? Since they first started talking about Vulkan?
Yeah, at least 5 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. This transition going from DX11 ultimately to Vulkan, even though DX11 is still being supported, eventually CIG has stated that they want us to go over to Vulkan. And for those of you who don't know, I mean, you always hear about Vulkan. I'm sure there are a lot of good techies out there. A lot of you guys already know what the deal is. But Vulkan basically allows the game to be able to use more cores on our computers. Right now, when we play Star Citizen, we may be playing just on one core. Vulkan will allow you to spread that out over your system. Some of you guys have got really great rigs, but the potential is really not being tapped into very much. And Vulkan definitely has made an improvement. One of the things that's really great for it is that for rigs that are not high end, if you've got a moderate rig, you should be able to see substantial performance differences in the game when you play it. And for those of you who have good rigs, you'll still see some improvements. I know a lot of the people, first thing they did when they came in Fastcart was when they walked out of their hab and looked outside, they could see visually. Even though there was a graphics pass, you could also tell that things looked way more enhanced. You know what I mean? Detail was better. Performance was better. People are getting better frame rates now also because of that. So for some people, that first week, it was kind of funny, but they said that they had been in touch with both AMD and NVIDIA and working with them with Vulkan, and I think they've gotten it there. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, Fastcart, but the clouds and stuff, the water effects, have you seen any of that yet?
I've seen the water effects, and I've seen people talk about the God rays or sunlight coming through windows and stuff like that. That's been improved, so yeah, it's visually more pleasing.
Yeah,
and we are joined. Well, she's muted still, but yeah, we have yoyoMeg in the chat.
Okay, yeah, she's probably still getting herself together over there.
I'm here.
Hey, Meg, how are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. Just let me know. I'm watching for your video to pop up when it comes in. I'll get you in. No worries.
My deepest apologies.
No apologies. No. We know you're doing stuff. It's cool. While she's getting ready, I was going to say about Socially Confused was saying that they didn't see very much change in their performance. And what I would tell you, Socially, I don't know if you've done this or not. If you have, please forgive me for acting like you didn't do it already. But make sure you check out. There are videos out there for running Optimum for NVIDIA cards and AMD cards. And make sure that you've taken a look at some of those. Sometimes even things that are running in your background can really hurt your performance if you have a moderate sized rig, but you should still see some performance in your game. Also take a look on if you're using any of the settings, like CIG has its own setting for graphics, and then there's one for AMD processors. It's one of those weird things, but if you've done it, then great, and maybe you're just not seeing the issue, but definitely take a look at it and see if you've done that, because there are lots of videos that people in the community have made for how you can maybe get 5-10 more frames just from doing a few small adjustments in your system. But with Vulkan coming in, hopefully you'll see some improvements. Go ahead.
And speaking of settings, some of the settings have changed when it comes to the game. We'll probably get into like the cruise mode and stuff like that later. But they're offering more ways to adjust Yeah, like you said, the Vulcan experience or visual experience. So yeah, you might want to check that out. Like a whole lot of people made guides in the past. Some of those will probably have to. A lot of those will probably have to be updated.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Meg, we were just getting into talking about stability and performance, and we're just hitting the very first topic, which was about Vulcan. When you jumped in, did you see? First of all, are you using Vulcan? I should ask you that first.
I am using Vulcan.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm using it correctly though, because I feel like I'm not seeing much difference between it being on and it being off.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I'm not like a super like tech savvy person, so maybe again, like I'm probably not using it right to see like clear as day the difference off and on. Or like maybe it's like yeah.
Oh, do you have like a high end rig, or would you say it's more middle?
Probably high. 3090
Probably high.
Intel i9, 64 gigs of RAM.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why.
The higher performance computers aren't seeing it as much as supposedly the moderate computers are.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why it's been put in, because back in the day, Meg, when they first started this project, it was really implied that in order to play Star Citizen, you would have to have a really, banging computer. And over the years, CIG has tried to make that moderation where even if you have a decent computer, you can play the game. So people like you and I may not see it that significantly, but supposedly people who are running moderate rigs are supposed to be able to see an increase in performance in some form. But it does take a little bit of tweaking. It does take some tweaking to get stuff right. They're still working on it.
Gotcha.
FC is interviewing us because he has, how he doesn't go into the PTU. So he's asking us the questions and we're responding. Okay. Alrighty.
Here for it.
So I'm like, did you have anything else to say about Vulcan or your experience with Vulcan?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, out of you.
Sorry.
Nope, I'm done. It was on Meg.
I mean, yeah. If I would love to try that with my fiance's computer, because she can. I mean, it crashes like crazy and it stutters so much. So I would love to see whenever it like hits further down waves, or even live, what that looks like for her specifically, because man, I know like firsthand somebody who struggles with a lower end PC trying to play the game. So it'd be really cool if that helps. But yeah, I think it'll be great for low end computers, like you're saying.
Yeah, that'd be a good test. Try it out on her computer and see what happens. Yeah,
definitely.
Meg, just so you know, I put a couple new links into the docket. So down where Arena Commander is, make sure you've got that one, because I'm going to read off some of these items in here for folks, and maybe if you've done them, you could talk about them too. Okay, but okay, FC, we're good on that one.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. So I'm gonna say peace and long life to Vulcan. Next up is Arena Commander 323 and engineering. So yeah, what is your experience been with Arena Commander so far, Meg?
Man, unfortunately, I've spent a lot of my time in EPT, like the persistent universe of EPT versus Arena Commander. But the small glimpse that I did have, the engineering console looks so cool. I'm excited to see how that looks. I don't know if was the repairing working. I feel like it wasn't.
You know what? I tried it like that first week when it came out, and I could do damage. I went back there. I shot at the. I went. It's on the A2. I went back to the quantum drive. I shot at it a few times. Didn't do squat. Go back to the panel to see if there was damage. It was still 100%. Then I went back the next time and I lobbed 2 grenades at it. And when I went back, then I had damage. Then I tried to go back and use the repair tool, and I never did get it to go up. Now I heard that there was a weird bug that it actually does go up, that you have to do something on the panel and you'll see it go up. But I haven't tried since then. So I don't know if the repair side is working. Maybe somebody in chat knows if the repair side of it is working. But supposedly it is, because that's what that whole test is supposed to be about, right?
I am so excited for that whole thing to be working. But I played with the engineering just a little bit. The fuses were a little confusing, but I'm sure with more time I'll understand. But that console is cool, and I can't wait for the repairing and for those, even just those 2 roles, like maybe somebody who is set at the console and then somebody who's actually like running back and forth and fixing things. That's going to be really cool whenever that is up and working. But I definitely need to get in there and test.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to engineering in a second. I'm just going to read off some of the things, because I'm like you, Meg. I didn't do a lot of the stuff. And the only thing I did do in there was the engineering. So just real quick, some of the things they added, guys, in the experimental mode, they've got a Grav Royale now, where you do this high speed chase in there. They did some map stuff. Some of you guys know they imported some of the races in. So the Miner's Lament is in there now for all flight modes. The Skyscraper is there. It's a classic race. The Kaplan Circuit is there as a classic race. Dunlow's Derby is in there as a classic race. Lorville Outskirts, out back of the big building over there, is in there now. And then the Stanton Pyro Jump Point is another classic race that was put in there. So just be aware that those are some of the new modes that they put into here. One of them I got a chance to look at. It looked really, really phenomenal. But for those of you into racing, it seems like they're just kind of feeding the racing monster more and more, and it's growing more and more in the game.
Yeah, there was an ISC recently about racing and stuff like that. So that's one of the things I'm really interested in trying when I get into the game.
Yeah. Make it much more easier than trying to do it in-game and having to respawn and go through that whole process again and again when you crash a lot.
Yeah. Meg, I want to ask you go ahead, fastcart. Go ahead.
One thing I'm interested in how is the gameplay versus AI versus players. So yeah, that's I'll be checking that out. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to ask Meg a question. What's your assessment now that you're seeing an idea of what, I mean, this is just tier 0 of engineering, right? It's not the full blown thing. But right now they just got something as basic as power and doors, right? That's all that's in there right now. But we haven't seen life support, security. We haven't seen none of the other things factored in, right? There are a lot of people who felt like engineering was going to make things complicated. Right. Do you feel like engineering will make it? Is complication bad? Do you think that there's some concerns about it being too much? CIG said that, like, for example, if you're the type of person that goes on your ship and checks all your stuff out ahead of time and makes sure everything's working, you should be able to go out without too much of a problem, right?
Yeah.
But let's say that everybody does that, but there's a combat scenario, right? How are you feeling about the engineering side now? Do you think the engineers are going to take the risk and don't have them? Overkill? What are your thoughts about engineering now when you look at it? And I mean, you can pick whatever size ship you want. Let's just say we're talking about anything that's not single seat.
MSR.
Okay.
Random ship, not the best ship in the game or anything, just random ship name.
Okay.
I know the fighting word for some people.
I know. BMM. Okay. Yeah. I think that there are a lot of people who have been itching for some gameplay like this. I know if you remember from like the start of me joining like Soul Citizens and like my description of how I like join the game and how I look at the game. I never thought much into roles, but we're gonna get like an actual role. I feel like that you can. I mean, we've like piloting, like sure, like anybody can like hop into a turret, but like somebody who knows what they're doing around a ship. So this is gonna make it's just new content, something that's added to the game, that you have to actively or not actively think about if you're prepared. Or if like there's a fight, like you need to have that base covered. If you're going to be a jack of all trades, this is like something that you're going to need to understand how to do. I don't think that this game should be super easy when it comes to having a larger cruise ship, because that's the point. It's supposed to have more people. It is getting hilarious to me the more and more I see people saying that they're going to go solo things. Because I know that like soon, unfortunately, that dream is going to get crushed. But yeah, like you said, if you're prepared, if you know ahead of time that you know ahead of time you prepared. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Like you check up on all of your stuff and make sure things are repaired, and things will degrade like over time, just like naturally, hopefully, like just little by little, and not like a complete break all of a sudden. Maybe we've talked about this before, but like having backups of things, backup shields, backup power. I don't know, like maybe that's overkill, like you're saying, but the game I don't know if that's realistic or not, but it just sounds like so much fun to me. It's less, let's get in a ship and go to a bunker, shoot guys and leave. It's like, okay, now we have like something else more detailed that we have to consider and think about and plan for. And to some, that's not what they want, but then there's a Pisces. Grab an arrow, grab something that doesn't take that complexity added to the game, and stop running a reclaimer by yourself.
No, that's a good point. Sense. Yeah. Now, I'm looking at Crown. Crown says, I don't think I'll need an engineer for my cutter. No, I think you'll be okay in your cutter, right? Yeah, I think you'll be okay in that. But I do want to address something the Prisoner's saying. The Prisoner's saying, I think that it'll be similar to how it is now. And I think the problem, Prisoner, if nothing changes, I would agree with you. But the one thing that CIG is going to be implementing was a couple things. One of them is wear and tear, right? So right now you put a component in your ship and you forget about it, right? Forget about it. You don't worry about it anymore, right? But after you've done 8 runs, 10 runs, 15 runs, maybe that component now is at 30%, right? So either you got to decide to change it out, which is going to cost you money, right? Depending on where you got it, unless you got a stack of them sitting in your hangar, maybe you do, but you're going to have to go pick that up. And even if you don't, let's say you want to run it at 30%. Well, now maybe you do have to worry about monitoring that thing and being an engineer, because it ain't at 100% no more. You know, if you get attacked when you're at 100% and maybe you get knocked down to 60%, you survive, no big deal. But if you're at 40% and you get attacked and you get knocked down to 0, you're dead in the water. So, you know, to your point, you can run it without it, you know, if you want. But I think that once later on all these other mechanics are in, people are going to stop just shooting at your ship. People are going to be shooting at your component. They're going to target it specifically. It's not going to be this random shooting stuff. They're going to be trying to knock out your, you know, your power plant. You know, they're going to be trying to knock out your quantum drive. You know, knock out your weapons.
And also your time to kill is probably going to be increasing, because while you're shooting against the ship, trying to damage or trying to board it, the people on board the ship are going to be repairing it. And yeah, so yeah, there's that. And I wanted to say, like, you know, people who want to solo a bigger ship, I don't want to say anyway, but you know, solo ship, like something like a ship that's designed for 2 to 5 people or 2 to 8 people.
Yeah.
You could solo, but it'd be less efficient.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, especially like, let's say you do have to repair your ship.
Right.
It's gonna be harder and less efficient, but you know, you'll get there, but it may take a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I get you. I get you. I'm sorry, prisoner. I get you now. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If assuming things didn't change, and yeah, as far as more engineering on the fly, yep, absolutely. You're 100% right. Go ahead, Meg. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I really do hope that it doesn't completely kill being able to just hop in whatever ship you purchase, like, so you could just go out and fly. Because of course, like, unfortunately the game changes, it's gonna keep changing, things are gonna keep getting added, and things are probably gonna keep getting more complex. But I know there are people who just want to hop in their BMM or whatever, and just fly it around. Maybe they don't like people, which is fine.
Right.
So it sucks that you like, and we probably haven't talked about AI or anything. You might be able to hire people or NPCs. I'm not sure what all that looks like. So like, there's still that, but yeah. I do hope you're with potential stuff like AI and stuff like that. You can be by yourself with the ship that you bought.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I think CIG kind of alluded to the fact that, you know, like when you get in an airplane, right? Nobody just gets in the airplane, turns it on, and takes off, right? You do what they call a pre-flight. And I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to go around and check all your stuff, you know, before you take off. And if everything's good, you know, this component may be at 80%, this one's at 70%. That's cool. You know what I mean? And I can go take off and fly, right? So I think that the solo player won't be, you know, like, I gotta have an engineer with me, right? I don't think that's going to be the thing. I think they're going to leave room for it. But I do want people to understand that the bigger you are, the harder you fall. If you've got a freaking Polaris, just be ready. That's all I'm telling you. Just be ready, because this engineering thing ain't just going to be about components. It's going to be a lot more involved at that station. And we're just seeing tier 0 now. And like you were saying earlier about the fuses, Meg, you know, just, do you see how many fuses are on the A2?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they're in the habitation area. They're downstairs. They're just like... Yep. You better know where they're at. You better know where they're at too. There's like 6 stations, 6 or 7 stations. No, it's more than that. It's more than that. It's quite a few, about maybe 7 or 8 stations where there are fuses at on that ship.
Jeez.
Just on that ship, and that's
on the A2.
Just on the A2.
Javelin.
Yeah. Oh God. Let me think about it. All right, we're running behind. Let's go ahead and move into what Meg talked about. Go ahead, fastcart. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got I'm going to go to Griffin this time. What do you?
Yeah. Well, okay. AI covers a lot of things, guys, and we can't cover everything in AI. But Meg, I'm going to say one thing: nobody's standing on tables. Nobody's running into walls. Everybody is doing what they're supposed to do. This is no joke. We watched yesterday. I was with Captain Jones. We stopped off. We were doing a mission out at one of the distribution centers, and it was one of those remote buildings outside of it. the AI were around there working and stuff. I mean, they were like doing stuff, like working, not just standing around. They walked over to my ship and acted like they were going to try to get in it. They walked into his ship. They literally walked into his ship. And someone was telling me earlier, I don't know if it was Stunner, somebody was saying that Morphologist had something where he landed his ship out somewhere and these guys followed out to where his ship was and blew it up. The AI did. Like they walked out to where his ship was and blew it up. Now, I haven't seen the video on that. Maybe somebody in chat has seen it, but AI is stepping up, y'all. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They are no joke. And people who've done air combat with these jokers, have you done air combat with them recently, Meg?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Have you noticed the difference at all?
Not for
you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the time that I did do, because I think when I did do AI combat, it was when things were really, it was like really bad.
Server was bad.
Like the server side, it's a lot of desync, but when it works, they're pretty freaking good.
Yeah. We had some we did some stuff at the distribution center one day, Meg. We killed this guy. First of all, those remote buildings outside, it was nighttime and it was foggy. You couldn't even see past your hand. It was that bad, right? We had to assassinate a guy over there. He had about 8 of his thugs there, and they were up in the rafters and everything, right? It took us about an hour and 15 minutes to kill this guy on a simple platform. We killed the guy. Somebody was hitting us from a distance. We couldn't figure out where they were, right?
Yeah.
Do you know the dude had an AO3? He had a sniper rifle. These guys were sniping us from upstairs. We'd never seen that before. You know, usually they got P4s or something weird like that, shotguns, and they be hitting you. This guy had AO3s, and they were hitting us up there. We leave from there, go to the distribution center. We're driving into Ursa. We get inside, we get hung up on the wall. The civilians break out pistols from their backs and start shooting us. Then we go down a little bit further. We get the vehicle moving, and we get stuck in a tunnel, and we got surrounded. It was me, Captain Jones, and Stunner. We had a straight tombstone battle there. We lost. We died. Oh, no. And they were, I was laying on the ground, watching, hovering around, zoom. They were moving around like crazy. They were duck dodging, hiding, and everything. It was crazy in the distribution center. No joke going in there.
The human AI
may I make a suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
Next time, maybe bring a breast print, because evidently they didn't like any of y'all. So very much breast print.
M. Walker, my apologies. You might be right. Maybe it was Burks. It wasn't Morphologist. Thank you for that correction. It was Burks. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, it was Burks. Yeah, it looked like Burks had a patrol of NPCs roll up on his ship, and he came back to them and they destroyed his Gladius. There you go. Yeah, they're not playing.
The AI are acting incredibly. Definitely at the distribution centers. Those what was I gonna say? They're like actively like coming through doors and stuff like that. Like from one area through a door, through another door into another area. Like they're Yeah, it's
like they get the alarm goes off and they all show up, right? They all start coming. Absolutely. So if you guys haven't done, and you want to know something else funny, Meg? The death timer. Y'all tell me if this was working before, because maybe I'm just getting old. Okay, so we died, right? I'm in the Ursa. I'm dead. There's about 8 guards around outside the Ursa. I log out of the game. About 20 minutes later, I said, let me log back in and get my character ready, so tomorrow I'll be ready to play. I logged right back in the Ursa again. And my death timer was still running. I'm like, oh shoot. So guess what? Hour and a half. You can't just bug out unless you commit suicide. You gotta wait. So anyway, AI is on point, y'all. That's all it's getting better. It ain't 100%, but if it was 20% before, I'd say it's like 70% now, maybe even 80%. It's getting there. Okay. Anyway. Okay.
All right. So up next we have the introduction of fauna. So what are your experiences with the Martok and Copian? Let's start with Meg this time. What do you think of those things?
The Copian, I think I only got to see them once actually. It felt like the first week that EPTU was out, I could not find them. I went to so many different missions, scanned a lot of places. I just could not find them. Then we finally found them at a settlement, and I think we just unfortunate server wasn't a great one, and they were phasing in between the ground and stuff, but there's debris there, but they were in the settlement, So I was like, that'd be interesting to see. If they're supposed to be like, I don't know if they're supposed to be outside the settlement or these people got friendly Copian, but they're not friendly towards us.
Wait, say it again.
I said it'd be interesting to see if they have like the Copians are like their pets or something, like guarding the area against us.
Oh, okay.
They're not friendly towards us because they were not friendly towards us, but they were there in the settlement. So I'm not sure if that was like intended or not, but yeah, they're pretty cool. I still want to experience them in caves. Yeah, I hope we get to see some more fauna.
Cool. How about you, Griff?
I just recently had experience with Martok. I had not seen them at all, and I was out last week, and I finally got a chance to see them. There were a flock of them, a couple of different groups of them that were flying around. Little desyncy every once in a while, but really cool. The Copian, I've seen a bit more. Did a mission yesterday for the first time, going down in the cave looking for them, which was interesting.
And for people who may not know, how big are these animals in the game compared to
the Martok is big with its wingspan. It's pretty large. It's hard to tell because when they die, they fall and they fold up, so it's kind of hard to see the wingspan on them. But they're large birds. You almost kind of feel like not pterodactyl like, but they're big. They got a big wingspan on them. The Copian, on the other hand, are kind of like a large. It's hard to gauge them. They seem like just like a dog size, like a large dog. Mm-hmm. They didn't come off as big as I was hoping they were, because I was looking more like, I don't know, I want to say like lion sized, and maybe they are. It's hard to get a perspective on them because once again, when they die, they kind of fall over, and it's hard to tell. But yeah, the Copian, we were in a cave, went down and got one of the missions where you had to do a pest elimination, and we killed them. The reaction times on them aren't that great right now. And again, like Meg said, that might be because of the servers. I literally sat there for a while, saw it, walked up to it, it kind of turned and looked at me, and I kept approaching because I wanted to see whether or not it was going to just stand there. And finally it did leap at me. And I was able to kill it. But I think one hit and it knocked me down by like 25%. I went from like 75% just from one hit. But the one thing that I want to ask CIG to do, please, CIG, please take away target markers. It's okay to tell us where something is. You know what I'm saying, Meg? Like, it's okay to say they're in this cave, but don't show me where they are in the cave, because I know where they're at. You know what I mean? And at that point, it takes away
definitely
everything. I just know they're right around the corner right here. You know what I mean? They do that same thing with the siege stuff over at the towers. You could tell me the boss, send me a radio transmission, say the boss has just landed. You know what I mean? But I want to look for the boss. Don't put a marker where the boss is, and and we just run past everything, not scared of anything happening because we know exactly where the boss is. So with the animals, I don't need the markers. I really don't. I want them to appear, and I got to be aware and alert when they're in the game.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice.
Well, maybe they're in the game now, so people can test them and actually experience them, and they know where they are. But
how about testing them when they jump on you? I'm serious. I'm just being serious.
So maybe when the patch actually hits live, they may remove the marker, but we'll have to see what happened.
Yeah,
I was also gonna say it'd be nice for the people who aren't like I don't know. I think the game can't probably cater to everybody, but it'd be cool if the base tier missions like that did have maybe some sort of markers. And then as you go up in difficulty, then you don't see them. So maybe like a tutorial type, this is what you're actually looking for. And then the next time when you get a higher paying mission, it's harder. I don't know.
I love this idea from Drophammer. CIG should add a handheld radar like an alien. That'd be an experience a lot of people would appreciate.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a funny thing about target markers. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old school, Meg. I don't know. I was watching on Starfield. They used to have this thing over the Starfield character said pirate, so they were a pirate. I don't need you to tell me he's a pirate. He ain't with me. You're gonna get shot. I just don't. The target. Now it's funny in the bunkers, right? you know how we have the arrows and stuff? You know, that's kind of okay, I guess, you know, the target for arrows. But like when we were doing the Overdrive initiative and we were in Korea, I don't know. Maybe it's a matter of checking your fire. I don't know. I just feel funny. Anyway, I don't want to belabor that point. We'll move on. We're past the
yeah. All right. So yeah, that is the introduction of fauna, the Martok and Copian. I'm looking forward to running away from them eventually, I guess. But yes, up next we had the full character customizer revamp. So let's start with Griffin this time. What are your thoughts about the customizer?
I'll let Meg talk about this one. I mean, we've been waiting on this for a long time, and I think one of the things that's been great about EPTU is that CIG is improving it while we're in there. The version that we have of it now is not the same version of when it came out in EPTU. They've been listening and tweaking, and that's probably the biggest thing I like about this. So I'll let Meg talk about it. Can you
give me an example of what they changed?
Well, for example, sometimes it might be just a suggestion that someone makes, like an undo button, something like that, or just the interface, you know, has become more intuitive. When you first got in it took a little bit to figure things out, but they've just been tweaking things to make it much more flow better. You know, the idea was there, but it's like fine tuning it, maybe is a better way of saying it. So.
Yeah.
Okay, Meg.
Another example, like very recently that they updated was it used to say import export, now it's save load.
Yeah,
which was huge in my opinion because some things to them. It's always funny because I work as a product analyst, so like I don't want to see playing Star Citizen as my job, but it's always nice to like see that stuff actually because if you're just working on stuff like this, sometimes you don't play like or use the thing that you're actually working on. So like the people who are working on this might not actually play the game. And so what they think is like, yeah, like this makes sense. Like we shouldn't need to do this or that. Like this is perfect. And then once we get it, we're like, what the frick is this? Like, how did you think this was going to work? This makes no sense. I don't know how to, I don't know how to navigate this. Like, but yeah, so seeing the changes like that from like the Spectrum, the forum page, for the character customizer, I hope that there is still some more stuff that they change. It might seem like, to me, this is still like the biggest thing that I have a gripe about is whenever I go in and I just want to see like pretty quickly the characters that I do have saved. I just want to go through and like quickly go between them and see what my characters look like. But I have to like click one, load, and then it takes me to like the DNA screen. And then if I'm like, okay, but I want to see the next one, I have to go to the save button, then choose the next one, load, and then it takes me back to it's like I just wish I could just go between each. So hopefully CIG, if you're listening, please, that would be cool. But maybe that's too small because, you know, some people just like to hit random, enter the universe. So that's not for everybody, but I do think things like that would be great. But other than that, I think it's been great. I personally suck at making a character. So the fact that we can export and we have a community of people who are adding their characters that they've created to a website and we can go there and download and upload into Star Citizen is fantastic. Like recently I've just been running around as Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan and it's been a blast.
Cool.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how much time have you spent customizing your character? Both of you. Meg first.
Me first. Probably like 30 minutes to an hour. Like I said, I really have been using a lot of characters that other people have been making. But I know a lot of people who have been, they've spent weeks. People have been just like cooking out, like Buster's been cooking out characters. My friend Kragon's been making characters like crazy. There are a lot of people who've spent so much time. But that's just not me.
Someone said that they're selling tunes on Etsy.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Wow. So how about you, Griffin? How much time you spent on customizing your character?
When I did the first one, it didn't take me long. Maybe 15 minutes, maybe. And that was more spending time getting used to the tool itself. Because I basically tried to recreate the tool that I've always been using previously in the old customizer. But then I went back later and started tweaking. And I probably spent a good 30 more minutes. And by that time they had done some improvements to the interface, and so it was much better. The experience was much better this time. Plus, you got to go in a couple times and figure out where things are, but once you do, it's really good. And to Meg's point, one of the things that's nice is that you can save multiples and that are tied to that same account. So you know your different face doesn't go to a different account. It's just that if you want to be a blonde today and then tomorrow will be a brunette, you can do that, and have those separate heads that you want to do, whether they're male or female. There's no restrictions. You can play however you want, which is nice, right? The other thing that, to Meg's point, and I want to kind of spin this off in just a slightly different area. Meg, you talked about the fact that CIG, sometimes the people who are writing it are also not necessarily people who are using it. Or sometimes for the person who writes something, like Jared gave a good example a couple of weeks ago when one of the devs couldn't say Bajini. And he said that's because in-house, we call everything stanza 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And so that does happen. With flying right now, they did a thing with the flight commands where they changed straight forward and back to something longitudinal. For some reason or other, they came up with a brand new title. And people in the community were saying, well, you've got strafe left and strafe right. Why don't you have strafe front and back? What did you change it for? And guess what they did? Guess what they did, Meg? They changed it back. They changed it back, right? It said at longitudinal. But that's because it was the in-house thing that they were using, right? Yeah. So, positive, constructive criticism is heard by them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes it's just something that slips and gets through the ringer. But you're right.
It's just another simple example of these people are just people. Like they may not be as passionate as we are about this game. Like they're just doing their job, which might not be as intense as we think it should be. Yeah. And
I'm impressed when you said that they changed the input export to save load, because I mean intuitively, many of us would understand what export and import mean. But when you save something, you save it to your hard drive. When you load something, you're loading it from your hard drive. So that makes more sense to a lot of people. So I can appreciate that change.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Up next we have the Moby-Glass rework. So Meg, what do you think about the Moby-Glass rework?
I think it's amazing. I know that there's potentially 1 billion different variations that this could have turned out to be, but I think it's fine. I'm not a creative individual, so I don't know how much different this could have been, but it's great. I think it's a lot on the main screen now. I think it looks a lot cleaner, a lot more colorful instead of how bland it looked before. I still think that there needs to be some changes or additions, but of course this is the base. We're probably going to see more apps. We're probably going to see more navigation to other places. There are definitely some. I like the Mark All Red. That was a great addition. Trying to think what else. Them changing the names. Also, not just that, but they added the names of the different apps just there, so you don't have to hover to see what this is, what a thing is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Also changing the names for rep, wallet instead of, what was wallet before?
Wallet was for now. It was Motrade. Yeah, it was Motrade. It was Motrade. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel too much about that, because one could argue it'd be cool if they stuck to maybe lore, or maybe Motrade is what it's called and it should say that. But I think it's so perfect that it's wallet, rep, vehicles, just leaving things to just be simple.
It makes sense that they want to make it more new player friendly.
Not everybody knows or not everybody knows or cares about lore like that. And there is no. We have the journal entry, which I hope that's something we see tweaked. To have, I don't know, what did we see before Galactopedia? There's got to be a better tutorial or source of information that doesn't take you out of the game.
Well, technically, the Galactopedia. Right. Remember, we had talked about how the website is supposed to be a mirror image of the Moby-Glass, right? That's why everything's called apps instead of menus when you go to the website. And ideally, what they want to do is make it so that the star map, spectrum, and all that stuff all tie in, right? So they would be their own app as well, right?
Okay.
So like you were mentioning earlier, there's still that more interface that they want to be able to do. They even talked about some apps will be, some Moby-Glass setups will be just like if you're doing engineering, because that's the information. Some just like the ones for Squadron 42 are more combat oriented, right? So we'll see this, like you said, the different iterations of it in time,
Yeah.
So Griffin, while we're on that, what are your thoughts about it?
No, Meg hit it on the head. I mean, the interface is definitely an improvement. We got glimpses of this back at CitizenCon, and even though the one we saw was more of the Squadron 42 version, we can see how they took the best of all those worlds and kind of brought it into what works for the persistent universe. I agree, Meg. The color differentials definitely are nice instead of just having that plain blue. All those different apps too, even though I'm only showing one page here, that's the home page. Each one of those pages has its own great amount of detail on it. If you look at the health page, it's got its own detail. Some of the pages have not changed. Comms still looks the same, but they said that's because they're reworking comms. There will be a different look for the comms page because that's really an important page for people hooking up and grouping up and stuff like that and communicating with each other. But the knickknacks has been changed to assets, right? And that looks, it's different. It's got the, now that the interface is better for it. So yeah, this is the Moby Glasses just definitely has stepped up, you know, and it works faster. It pops up faster. Interface is quick. Go ahead, Meg. I'm sorry.
No. I'm sorry. I'm just, sometimes if I don't like blurt something out, I forget it.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I'm like trying to remember as you're talking. No, but yeah, the assets. Have y'all looked at, like, drilled into things and like seen like the pictures of like stations and stuff?
Yep. It's very cool.
It's so freaking cool.
It is. It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So up next we have the what? Go ahead, Meg.
No, nothing.
Okay. So up next we have the star map, interior map, and mini map. You're gonna go with Griffin this time. What are your thoughts? You like it? You like it?
Yeah. You know, this is another one that is just, you know, work in progress and needs to be worked on. They've already done some things in it. I know when we first used it, Meg, when you would click on it, it would start out with you zoomed in on your ship. And if you were in space, and that kind of sucked because you really wanted to see the system and work your way in instead of this way going out. So you'd have to zoom out, find what you want, then zoom in. And they heard from the community and they ended up pulling it back now, you know, so now it's not, at least it just shows that particular system you're in. Like if you're at Hurston, it shows Hurston and its moons, right? And then if you need to pull out, you can. So they're still doing things to tweak this. It takes a little bit to get used to the interface. Because now there is a search bar, so you can put in a location. It shows you a route of where you need to go, and that's it. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. There also is a little bit of coordination shifting between SCM and nav mode so that your markers come up. But once you get used to it and you start to figure out where they're going, it's okay, I get it now. At first, it throws you off because, let's be honest, for years we've been doing it a certain way and we've kind of got our muscle memory and our brains wrapped around that. And this is just kind of having to deprogram yourself a little bit. But it's cleaner, it's nicer, more exact. Yeah, it's good.
Have you played with pinning locations and stuff?
They don't have that in just yet. The pinning aspect isn't completely there yet, but just to have the map, for like, what's the better way of saying it, Meg? Just to have a working map. Is huge, let alone any extra features. Just to have a working map is good.
I'm not asking for anything else.
So Meg, yes, your app. What are your thoughts?
Same thing with what Griffin said. Once again, another area where we will probably quickly take it for granted, but this for a new player is going to be freaking huge. Like if you're like, hey, meet me over at like this location or like meet me at this place, and they're like, I don't know what that is. Like, okay, just type it in the search bar. Or like if your mission says to go to a certain place, just type it in the search bar. If you forget where you were when you died, it's right there in your recents on the search bar. Yeah, that search bar is just freaking incredible. Obviously some things that could probably change, but it's great. The routing is great. I think they talked about in Star Citizen Live that right now zone to zone mapping doesn't work, which I hope that comes so quick because again, something that new players are going to need. Like they're not going to know how to get to the spaceport if they don't know to go like here and then go there. Like it's just going to stop. Just random stuff like that. But yeah, Tier 0 looks great. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, the routing just looks so good. And you can see all the stuff, like, of course, the servers might not be like tip-top shape right now, but man, you can see your party members walking through your ship. You can see the doors opening. All while like still everything else is going on in the verse. So it's super cool to see. Same with like, you can see like elevators coming through when you're in locations and can't think what else. Oh yeah, there's like a difference whenever. I think it's like the contact lens or something when your helmet's on or off. I like those UI changes as well. I don't know if we're gonna talk about that, but the difference between like the chat and the map when your helmet's on or off is pretty cool.
Yeah, we got that coming up.
We're gonna get there. Okay. Yeah, it's great.
Cool.
I haven't used the mini map that much though. I don't know. We're probably not talking about that yet.
It's in there. Yeah, the mini map's a part of this too. Yeah, I'm like you. I mean, even though it's in the upper left corner, I don't find myself drifting to it too much. I did it once, and it was when I was in the distribution center, and I was trying to find where the elevators were because there's so many areas in there, and I was trying to distinguish what an elevator door looked like. But that was the only time I ever think I referenced it. Most of the time, I'm still just looking my regular view. You know.
Yeah, I think that's great though, because hopefully other people are seeing the same thing. Like it's not like screaming at you. Like it's just like there. I don't really notice it, which is amazing, because I almost wish there was a way you could turn it off. I don't think, unpopular opinion, I don't think we should have a mini map when our helmet's off. Like I get that we have a contact, but
I agree.
I just don't want to see anything.
Agree.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to clean a clean, not UI, but
like that's why I take the clutter off, because I'm eating, drinking. I don't want to Google Glass. I don't know.
Right. Cool. Thank you. So yes, up next we have EPTU. We're going to start with Meg, EVA, Terminator 2, or the Electric Boogaloo, as I like to say. What do you think of? Have you experienced EVA yet?
Yes, it honestly took me so long to experience it because I just wanted to get to the distribution centers, but the EVA is buttery, beautiful, amazing. Same with like, again, I'm sorry, we're talking about this later, but just the movement of your character in general, rolling around and getting in and out of the ship. I was messing around with the MPUV docking collars, just the circles. You can just go in, land, jump out, and like you can just keep going. It's so cool. I love it. EVA is so much better. I think this is still missing like the like magnetically or whatever, like sticking to like ships and stuff. But
you're not quite a fighter at this point yet.
Yeah, but it is freaking better. It is amazing.
All right. How about you, Griff?
Yeah. By the way, I took that picture. Isn't that great? I went out and took that picture last night. I was like, I need some video. I need some video. Yeah. No. The EVA is definitely nice. I know that the control aspect of it. I just wish that, I don't know if you've ever done this, Meg, but when you go back, you kind of fold back so that your feet are ahead of you and you're kind of going backward like that. I do wish that they allowed you to kind of be like this. That you could do like a 6-point axis, but don't get me wrong. You're right. The animations are great. The movement is great. When you're headed towards something, if you're going to hit it, your hands come out and stop you from doing it. Getting in and out of a ship, if you do the 890 mission, you know how you go in through the side docking collars, you just kind of flow right in, boom. You can still wipe out, y'all. Don't think that you can't mess up, but it definitely makes it a lot easier for people to enter and go back and forth in the game, which is very nice. So yeah, they've hit the mark, and like you said, there's more to come. Like you said, Meg, we still got the other grappling and everything else is going to come later on with it, but it looks beautiful. Yeah.
So question about EVA before we move on. When you're doing EVA, are either of you singing "You Believe You Can Fly"?
No.
How about you, Meg? No. Okay,
no.
I'll add it to the radio.
Okay, cool. New loot screen. So yeah, it's gonna start with Griffin on this one. What are your thoughts?
Oh, the confusion.
Not a fan.
No, I am. It was just, we've been used to looting a certain way, right? And what I didn't know was that there is a loot screen and there is still an open inventory screen, and they are different. The loot screen definitely is great for when you need to do something on the fly very quickly, right? The inventory screen is when you got plenty of time on your hands. What I mean by that is when I do the inventory screen, I will get my local available to me, my backpack, my legs, my arms, and then I get whatever it is I'm looking in. And if that happens to have a flight suit in it or a helmet or whatever, I'm able to grab that stuff and put it in and store it in some form. When you're in the loot mode, that's what you're doing. You're looting very quickly. So if you want to grab some ammo off somebody, med pens, whatever it is, food even, you can do it very quickly. It's just a different type of interface. And I'm still getting used to using this one. But like in a combat scenario, I'm definitely using what's on the screen. If I'm just looting boxes, a lot of times I'll just go to the open inventory screen because it just gives me a different level of moving things around. But that's just my preference. But no, I do like it. I think it's a new interface that's nice.
Cool. Meg?
Are they keeping that inventory screen?
Well, we can talk about inventory a little bit. One of the things I noted yesterday when I was playing is that they have cut the inventory down on what you can carry on you now. You know, they're slowly going to be phasing out this local. That's why we don't what do they call them? The item. What do they call those things? The kiosks now, Meg. The item banks. Yeah, the item banks. Yeah, because they're not online yet. We're still able to do stuff. You know what I mean? But eventually, that stuff's going to disappear. You know, and so for right now, that's fine. But like even my backpack, I was telling people yesterday. That's that silver backpack. There's like a yellow one and a silver one like that you wear on your back. I had 7 rounds of S71, 7 rounds of Arclight, and 7 rounds of AO3, and that took up 25% of that backpack. Just that. And when I was in my legs, I had 2 bottles of water, 2 MREs, and 2 med pens, and my legs were almost full. Where before I used to store a whole bunch of junk down there, right? Same thing in my core. My core was the same thing too. So they've reduced that. Maybe it still has the same stats as far as the numbers, but they've made the mass on the items bigger. You know what I mean? And so to your point, I think that eventually that is going to get phased out. That being able to drop stuff on the planet stuff is going to be your item bank. That's where you're going to go to get stuff. They're going to make you manage stuff because when you get on your ships, they want you to start storing things on your ships. That's what they want you to do, storing stuff in your hab. But because we don't have our hangar, our hab, and all that, I think that's the only reason why the big inventory is still out there.
Yeah. I think that...
Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was going to say this... loot, is that what we're calling this? This is loot?
That's the loot. That's the new loot system.
Yeah. The loot system is beautiful. It is so freaking fast. It is amazing. I was freaking out today when I was playing. And then I learned that you can still go between like what's in their core and what's in their legs,
right?
Without like breaking the view. Yeah, it's so fast. I don't know how else to say it. If you have not tried this yet, it is so quick. You click, you tap F to go into this view. You tap the P4 round or the P4 clip magazine. What's the right word?
Magazine.
And it instantly goes to your body, or you can shift click and it goes to your backpack. Like it's so fast. Which I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it was a lot slower before. Like I feel like it took like a long time for it to like come up and load. You have to like click into their core or whatever, then it's a pop up and load. And I just feel like it took so much longer. But obviously like this is EPTU. It could be slower once it hits live, but I hope not, because it's great.
Well, to your point, I think it's because you want looting to be faster because you're more than likely going to be in a combat scenario, so you don't want to take too much time or moving stuff around too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm already taking for granted how simple it is to just tap F and enter this mode versus being like, no, not the gun, the core. No, not the arms, not the legs, the core. No, don't pick it up. Loot. You know what I mean? Like, it's so great.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah.
So, Griffin, are you looking forward to someone not taking the helmet off and then trying to drag you by accident anymore?
Oh, yeah, that's not. I don't have to worry about that happening anytime soon. Yeah, I don't have to worry about that happening anytime soon.
Okay, so cool. All right, so up next we have the new visor and lens. Well, start with Meg in this one. What do you think about the new lens and visor?
Oh.
Yeah, Meg, I didn't put the whole thing up because it's too wide. If I made the whole screen, you wouldn't be able to read it. So I just picked that left corner in there.
Yeah. So I think this is just missing probably like the like pretty recently added eyeball for the comm array,
right,
and the like cancel or like the cross out for armistice,
Right.
and I think they added like party comms or whatever, global comms in the top right. Looks great. It looks great. It's minimal. It's not in your face. These, I feel like they were the thing on the screen. I feel like they were larger at first, and they made them smaller and smaller. So, yeah, all of these things popping up, they're great. I think. I don't know what HPA is, but maybe that's because I just don't know. I don't even know what that is.
I know what it is. Somebody in chat, tell us what the HPA is, please.
HPA, I think I know what it is.
Environmental
pressure.
Pressure. The first one is your oxygen supply, because you'll see that number adjust when you go
I guess
from
that makes sense,
inside a vacuum area.
Pushing in. Yeah.
And then your water, and then your food.
We're testing me because it needs to be stupid friendly. I'm like, what is that?
Thank you, atmospheres. Thank you.
Yeah, all of it looks good.
Yeah, thank you, Rooster. Yeah, the interface, like you said earlier, it's I think you said it, Meg, or fastcart, is that it just everything's cleaner, unobtrusive, but the elements are there if you need them. That's what's really cool about it. Otherwise, you can play and there's not like it's blocking you or anything. It's amazing to see just the difference in how refined it is at this point.
Yeah. Still with Tattoo though. Yeah, I think that stuff would be great if it's just left to your helmet, and then like if you need to see it, maybe you enter your Moby Glass, because that home screen is there that does show you all this information.
Right. Now, I haven't had a chance to test this yet, but CIG talked about the fact that they were going to start doing the combat visor, and I don't know, is there any distinction between helmets right now? Because I know that they said they were going to start with combat, but they talked about like the engineering people might have something different versus somebody who does something else. And I haven't had a chance to try out all the helmets and see, are they all got the same UI in them, or are they a little different? Do you know if they've done anything with that?
I could have sworn we tried testing that like the first day it went to EPTU, and there's like the combat, I think, has like a different reticle or something, or like a.
They've got the right. They have that's what I was going to ask. It's got the.
I think it does.
It's got the dynamic crosshair. The dynamic crosshair.
Yeah,
it's got the dynamic crosshair.
That's, and I don't know about anything else.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm mad.
Okay,
They're
yeah.
describing in chat. They said that there is a difference. The crosshair, some have crosshair and some don't.
Okay, thanks, gang. All right, cool. There is a difference. Toby says. Okay.
I guess we can talk about the visor mostly. How about you try the lens?
Well, that's the other thing too. The visor is what we're talking about now, right? My understanding was that the lens, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but the lens was supposed to be what you wore when you when you were a civilian, like when you were walking around in your civilian clothes. Now, I could be wrong, could be totally wrong, y'all. But in I call it the Apple Store. What's the place called? Frontline? Factory line, right? When you go downstairs on the very first level where the Moby glasses are and stuff, Meg, there's a table there with these contact lenses. And those lenses are supposed to work like AR lenses, where you can put them in your eyes and you can receive information and data. So just like how when we use the map and we do a line of showing where the route is, that was what I thought we would start seeing as things like that. Or if Fastcart was into doing stock and trade and he wanted to get a notification of something, that would pop up in his contact lenses, right? And so it is the Apple Store. Yeah, but that's what I thought lens was going to be. Now, maybe they're referencing lens in the sense of the visor itself. I don't know. But I'm kind of looking forward to the civilian side of things, because we got some sunglasses and stuff, but God knows I would love for the monocle and for those lenses to actually start doing the work that they're designed for, because those aren't just cosmetic. They're supposed to be doing something in the game, you know. Yeah. And so when you're in civilian clothes, that you don't have to, like you said, Meg, you don't have to put a helmet on. If you want to have that map, then you can put your lenses in, right? If you want to get notification, even Moby Glass can do stuff too, but I think the lenses would be really cool.
Okay. All right. So up next we have the full FPS combat.
Can we take a break? Can we take a break for a commercial break real quick?
Oh, sure.
We didn't get to squeeze that in at the top of the hour, and then we'll come back if that's okay. All right, gang. 1 minute commercial break, and we will be back. Let's see. It kicks in.
This episode has been brought to you by the letter A.
All right. For those of you subbing with us, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And for your continuing support. We really appreciate you guys for all that you guys do to help us out with the stream. We are going to be kind of trying to cut through the rest of this kind of quickly because we're a little bit over time. I talked a little bit too much at the beginning of the show. I've been too talkative this weekend. But we're going to go ahead and try
I didn't say anything.
We're going to try to get through the rest of the show within a decent amount of time. We just got a few more topics to talk about. And then we are going to talk about how people are feeling about 323 not being able to deliver some items at the very end. So you may want to stick around for that. So, and again, for those of you who are here, thank you. We appreciate you. 10 seconds to go.
And this episode has been brought to you by the number 2. I had to finish that. You know I had to.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of 2, we got 2 seconds back, so we should be back by now. Welcome back, folks.
Yes, and thank you, Citizen Kilroy. Thank you for that resub. Appreciate that. And also Bananas Gaming, thank you for the follow. Thrakazox, thank you. As always, we missed you earlier. And Vengeful. Oh my God, all these people did stuff. We just missed you guys all together. Chip Regal, thank you. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys. Okay, FC, we're ready to roll.
All right, so full FPS combat refactor. Gonna start with Griffin on this one. What are your thoughts about combat
boy,
refactor?
this is a tough one. There's a lot of information on this. Meg, I'm gonna have to read some of this. This is that line there. Some of you guys know that they did a lot of work in relation to the combat refactoring. I'm gonna read. I can't cover it all, gang. I wish I could, but there's just way too much to read through here. But there was a complete FPS combat overhaul. It said due to the massive changes in FPS weapon balances and updates, it will have its own devoted section. This was Wikipedia putting this information out. As you guys know, they did new scopes and sights in the game. There was attachment updates that they did, for the underbarrel laser pointers. Let's see what else. Bunch of keybind updates. This was a big one for me, Meg. I know you do a lot of shooting. And I went in one day to go do a bunker and didn't know that they had changed all those buttons around. And I was mad because I was getting lit up. So, all right. You guys know before sidearm used to be 1, no more. It is your primary weapon is number 1. 2 is your secondary weapon. 3 is your sidearm. 4, it was supposed to be melee and fist, but that actually works as your med pen, Meg, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's correct.
Right. Okay. 5 works as your multi-tool or something like that. Is that right? I think that's your multi-tool. No.
Yeah, it is multi-tool gadget.
Multi-tool, right? Or your med gun. It'll do the med gun or the multi-tool if you have them both on you. It'll alternate between the two, which is really weird. Some of the other stuff is still there, like leaning left and right with Q and E is still there. G they had down as a gadget. I don't know what the heck that is. They also claimed that this was earlier that consumables like your med pen was going to be Q, and they didn't do that as far as I know. Do you know if Q is it? Because it used to be C. I used to always remember that because C meant cure, and I would hit C and bring up my med pen. Do you know if they changed it to any keystroke?
C or med pens?
Yeah.
And stuff?
Yeah.
It's 4.
Yeah, but is it now? It is 4 now, no longer C, right?
Yeah, correct. It was C before.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool. So C is crouch now, just so y'all know, because that's another one that'll mess you up. Because if you had your thing bounded to crouch, you would lay down and go prone, which made me mad. So I'm trying to crouch down and I'm laying on the ground. But C is crouch now instead of the med pen, and then prone is left control. Okay. Weapon customizes X now. All right. So yeah, they did some changes in there with the key binding. Go ahead, Meg.
No, I just want to quickly say it sucks that this stuff is new, especially when you've been playing this game for a while. But crouch and prone, that needed to happen a long time ago. I don't know why it was ever what it was before.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Default again across games.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, I forgot to say 5 was gadget. Like I said, your multi-tool. 6 is fists. It used to be 0, I think. Is that right? 0.
It used to be 0.
Yeah. Weapon customizes now J. I'm sorry.
Right,
yeah, what's the
too much for me to keep track of and changing.
Yeah. So
it's not too crazy.
It's not that
on
bad.
The screen for you for the most part.
Forgive me, guys. I gave the old numbers. Med pen is 4, like we said, but throwables is grenade. G is grenade now, so that's easy to remember. And J is weapon customize. Okay. Then they had a whole bunch of FPS combat stuff that they did, adjustments to all types of stuff. All I can tell you guys to do is read it because there's tons and tons of stuff. Majority of weapons majority of weapons now have new iron sights on them. Let's see what else. What else? Equipment will no longer block bullets, such as a backpack. They don't block bullets anymore. Force reactions got adjusted. Let's see. Oh, then there was major weapons balances. Almost every weapon had something done to it. For those of you who are shotgun lovers, rejoice. Shotguns actually do what shotguns are supposed to do now. But the S38, LH86, they went through almost every weapon and did something to these weapons. So if you've got a favorite weapon, check them out. The LH, let me say this, the ones I know that they definitely changed. S38, LH86, the Salvo, the Arclight, the Coda, the Uberov, the P4 AR, the S71, and the Gallant, the Karna, all the SMGs, that's the P8, the C54, the Lumen, the Custodian, the LMGs, that's the FS9, the F55, the Demico, the shotguns, the BR2, the R97, the Ravager, the Devastator, and the Dead Ring. All the sniper rifles, the P6, the AO3, the Scalpel, the ADSCAV, the Arrowhead, and then the special stuff like the grenade launchers, the rail guns, and the grenades. So you guys check out all of that FPS stuff. If you FPSers, check and make sure that your stuff is doing what you thought it was going to do, because it may have changed. That's all I can say about that.
We got a couple of questions, but I want to try to get through this real quick at the end.
Sure.
But can you see through the scope like they showed at CitizenCon? Have you tried the scope?
Scopes work, but the zooming aspect of what people asked for was not there, as far as I remember. And you guys know what we're talking about. When you would zoom, you would hope that just the zoom would come in, and this part out here would stay the same. But what CIG was doing before was, it was like a cheat. They would just zoom everything in, right? I don't know, Meg, have they fixed that? Because I don't think I remember seeing it fixed, or is it? Do you know? I was using the AO3 yesterday. No, okay. I know when I look in the scope, I can't remember whether or not my outside moved or not. I can't remember. Okay. Yeah, the new scope tech isn't in. Okay, thank you, Toby. Thank you, Toby.
Thank you, Toby. Next question is from Pastor. With all the keybind changes, some players are remapping them to the old keybind. Do you feel that that players should give the new keybinds a chance?
I'll let Meg answer that.
Yeah, I definitely, to each their own. You can stick with the old. I don't think that there's probably anything wrong with that. A lot of people do that with their flight keybinds too. The only thing is sometimes like the actual, you might have to like set some things yourself. I don't know, but I definitely think you should give the new things a chance, especially since, well, I don't know, because I don't know how many times they're gonna change this again in the future.
Yeah, right. This is not the final time.
Yeah, as long as like I haven't tried changing some of the stock things that show up on the screen, like your med pens and grenades. Like they show up with your helmet on, and they show what keybind you're supposed to press to pull them out. So if you change your keybinds, I'm curious. I would hope that they change with your change of keybinds. But yeah, do what the frick you want, I guess. But the keybinds they're cool.
That's probably the best answer.
Yeah, but they are good. Like I would definitely give them a shot if I were you. But again, like they could change them anytime, I guess. But maybe just find out what works for you, and then just don't forget to export your control profiles or whatever. That way you don't have to go through that mess every single time they change.
Maybe they should change that to save and load also.
Well,
like they did
honestly,
let me break your heart some more, because I'm a little bit more hardcore. It's gonna change again.
Yeah,
this ain't the first. This is not the first time that these keystrokes have changed. So to me, the problem is that you do get overlap, right? You have to be, and you guys know that's been playing for a while. You got to be real careful about what keybinds you pick, because what you'll pick here in a vehicle may do something else, or you may double bind something. So just make sure that when you verify that change, that it's not going to impact something else you do. You may open the canopy and make yourself jump out of the ship just because you want to stick to a certain button. So just make sure that what you do works. We're not saying don't change it, but just make sure it works. Because this happened last time. Remember when they changed the tab key for scanning Meg? And that was a tough one. Because it was also just the proximity of where it was easy to do, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't just the fact that we had memorized it, but tab was like the perfect place for it. And then they made it hold down V and all this other stuff. And it was like, whoa. Yeah. So, to each his own, but just be aware that if you do reprogram, like Meg said, just make sure that you're tracking where it is you change things. Because again, I can tell you guys, the more stuff that gets implemented, something else is going to get added. We're not at all of the keybinds that are going to be coming into this game.
Okay, we're going to try to speed up a little bit. Backpack, reloading, ammo, refooling. Thoughts about that, Meg?
Yeah, it's amazing. Saves a lot of time. It honestly is a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to take a lot longer. Maybe like the bigger, like if I was trying to reload like a Demico mag, it would take a lot longer than a pistol. I haven't tried that. I don't know if anybody else has, but yeah, it's worked great and I love it. Saves a lot of time and a lot of trouble when you're active in a fight.
Now, maybe we should say ammo refooling. Basically, when you pick up a magazine and put it in the backpack, it'll put it in the right place. To pull it correctly. So that's what that is. Griff, how about you?
No, same thing. I'm sure it's going to still get tweaked, but it's not bad. There definitely, you do sense the delay time versus if it's on you, but it's not such a point that you're like screaming, like hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, But we'll see if they adjust the time. This is still all EPTU, so anything can happen. But we'll see. But yeah, it's a great feature.
All righty then. Dynamic cluster. We covered this a little bit before, but yeah, Griffin, what do you think about dynamic cluster?
You know what? I have yet to monkey around with that. I hate to say it. I've been doing a little bit of FPS stuff, and for some reason, I'm not recalling that crosshair being there for me, and I don't know why. Maybe I just didn't see it, or maybe I just didn't have the right helmet on. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go in and check it out because I do want to see whether or not there are any differences. Some people said, yeah, there are differences in the helmets, and maybe just the one I have, maybe the combat one I have just did not have that feature, but I just don't remember seeing the crosshair floating around in there for me.
Meg?
Yeah, I don't recall it being a thing, so I probably played with it, but yeah, I guess I just wasn't paying too close attention. I do think it's nice that only certain helmets, I'm pretty sure I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong, only certain helmets have it. So I know that might be trouble for people who suffer from motion sickness. So not having those helmets is like the option of not getting potential motion sickness.
All right. I think we have physical shopping UI. Meg, what are your thoughts about the new UI for shopping?
Man, it's gotten a lot better. It took them a little bit, but yeah, it looks good. Whenever you're going like back in a fridge or something, the screen still pops up like right next to you. I still think that there should be some way that we can quickly buy more. Like maybe we hold F and then once it like loads, we can just tap like, okay, I want 5. I don't know. Obviously, don't hate me. I get that you can go to a place and like mass purchase things. Like I get it, but I mean, I just want to run in and grab 5 bottles of water. It is quick though. It's like takes like 3 seconds to get one, so it's not that much time wasted. But it would be nice if we could just quickly get things. I don't know if you can grab anymore. Does anybody know?
Yeah, I've been trying to figure that out. That animation's out right now, and we were talking about wondering if they've removed that because they want to test this UI. Otherwise, people may still just do the grab thing. But we know that animation, I mean, we like that animation, right? It's nice to see the grab and everything. Even when you want to place stuff, you can't do the place like you used to. You can throw stuff. It depends on what it is, that you pick up.
Yeah, it's like, like left and right click, I think do different things.
Yeah.
And then you can hold F and then right click.
Yeah, you hold F right click and then the wheel comes up and then you got to select from the wheel. Yeah, it's a 3-step process. Yeah, it takes a little bit. And sometimes you can't see the base of the wheel. You may be able to see the top part but not the bottom part. So
It does make sense though. You
Yeah.
should just be able to like
Yeah.
you're just walking with a water bottle and you just want to throw it. You don't need to like interact to be like,
Well, you know what? You know what? I'm happy with left click, pick up, right click, put it down, place. You know, I mean, it doesn't have to be all that extra stuff, but you know.
Yeah.
But it is nice. The interface is nice. I don't know if you've seen how it works, fastcart, but basically when you click, a bar just goes from left to right like that, just showing that you purchased. It goes zing, bing, and then it says purchase.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is.
Meg probably doesn't remember this, but I'm pretty sure Griff does. But you know, way back when they were advertising something called Grabby Hands. Remember Grabby Hands, Griff?
Yeah.
This is the new and improved Grabby Hands, I guess.
Yeah, without hands. That's the only problem with it.
Hands.
Yeah, without hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so server crash recovery. Griff, what is your experience with the server crash recovery?
Oh boy. Okay, I have no image, no visual for that. We were talking about this earlier. When the patch first came out, I had a couple of server crashes, and it took anywhere from 1 minute to 2 minutes before it was recover. This weekend has been the longest I've seen the recovery times, and I think the longest I waited was about 6 minutes for recovery. The other thing is that when it recovers, sometimes it takes a few seconds for, I guess, maybe all your data and everything to kind of reload back in. Yeah, it takes a little bit. So you may look at your inventory and it's blank, right? And you give it a little bit of time, and then your inventory's back. I'm curious to see how this is going to continue to tweak. I know that when Evocati had it, they waited even longer, and it's been slowly coming down to like 2 minutes, sometimes less than that. And CIG obviously wants to make that recovery time happen even faster, but this is the first time all of us have been in there doing it, but this weekend's just been not good for folk with the servers. The server error has been coming up a lot for a lot of people this weekend.
All right, Meg.
Yeah, I'm curious. I haven't had a time where the server started to recover when I was in a hostile situation. Curious what would happen whenever I come back into the server. Like, will I come in and I'm dead? Will I have enough time to do what I need to do? That's going to be unfortunate, but I guess that's part of the game. But we were playing earlier and our server started recovering, and Kragan was like, do we miss 30Ks or do we like the server recovery? The ability to just
yeah. I will say this, Meg, it does work. I was in Cubby Blast buying some equipment, and server crashed, and it came right back up, and I was standing right back in Cubby Blast again. I didn't go back to the bed or anything. Then I left from there and went to the train station, and it happened again, and I woke up at the train station again, right where I was standing. So it does bring you back. There is no, like back in the old days where you reset and had to wake up in your bed. You will wake up, or in the pilot, you wake up in the seat where you are, which is nice. Which is nice. I will say that.
Yeah, it is pretty cool from what I've seen so far. Yeah, the server recovery, I don't think I've possibly experienced one that went past. I think I did leave. I think I did have one that was taking quite some time, and I left when it recovered. And when I tried to go back in to like hopefully find like maybe a more stable server, I could not get back in like at all. I had to wait until the patch hit. So that stuff makes me nervous. I'm not sure if like, because it's like locking us to servers sometimes. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I should have gone back and checked just to verify, but I could not get back in. But like, luckily we can recopy. Now I don't know. Hopefully, character repair will do the job. When it goes to live. But yeah, that stuff's it's kind of frustrating at that point. Yeah. But yeah, it's been pretty good for the most part. Like Griffin said, you pop up right where you left off. I think the thing I did see today was that we were trying to loot bodies right when the server error happened, and when we came back in, the bodies were gone because I think at that time passed.
Yeah. Because remember I was talking about Evocati capturing that NPC, and when we had the crash and he came back, the NPC was gone out of his ship. So yeah.
Griffin, you want to skip ahead, or you want to go to?
Let's skip this one because this one's not in the one. The next one on the list isn't in. So that one I found out's not in yet. So let's just go straight to the vehicle combat experience.
Okay, so vehicle combat experience master mode. Oh boy, Griffin, what are your thoughts? vehicle combat experience master mode.
You know, I'm speaking from somebody who's gone through the different flight model changes over the years, and so
You broke up. I didn't hear you on Discord.
I'm coming from someone who has gone through several of the flight model changes over the years. So this is not my first go round with this. Some of the flight models, when they do them, they're great. Some of them we're not that thrilled about. Some of them we adapt to, and for me, this is an adapt one. I don't see it as a negative. It took a little bit to get the muscle memory and the rethinking of how to implement master modes. I fly starter ships a lot, so I'm going to speak from the context of flying everything from a Connie down in starter ships. Because starter ships are usually fairly nimble and fast, the idea of losing my shields for a few seconds does not bother me as much. And so the transition time from SCM to nav, it seems like to me they've spooled it up a little bit. It doesn't feel like it takes forever. I don't feel vulnerable per se, as long as I'm paying attention to my surroundings. And then when I'm coming out of nav mode, I love the fact that SCM kind of works like a speed brake. You know, you can kind of zoom in somewhere, hit SCM, and your speed reduces very quickly. Getting used to the landing gear is not a big deal. The speed, they've raised the speed for landing gear down a little bit more. So I don't feel like it's inhibiting me. The fact that you can break SCM and nav also is nice. Before, once you would make that transition, you had to wait for it to actually take place. Now you can actually stop the process if you want to. So you don't feel like you're locked in. If for some reason I'm going into nav and all of a sudden I change my mind, I can break it, which is great now. So hopefully what I'm hoping CIG does, Meg, is that those modes will adjust based on my component quality. So if I've got a low end quantum drive, right, then it takes longer for the transition. If I've got a high end quantum drive, I'm willing to pay the money, right? I may get that extra 2 seconds, 3 seconds that makes the process happen faster. That's what I'm hoping that they will do, so that first of all, it gives us incentive, right, to go ahead and get better quality stuff. But it also makes us think, if you're stuck someplace where nothing, all they're selling is class C and D stuff, well, now you've got to think differently about how you're going to fly until you can get a better quality piece of equipment. So I'm hoping that that's what's going to come out of this later on. But I've gotten used to it. I'm digging it. The sticky throttle took a little bit for me to get used to. I don't know if anybody else had this problem with sticky throttle, but when you're in sticky throttle, that was what they used to call the old cruise, right? If you're in sticky throttle and you slow down your ship, if you pushed forward, it's kind of weird. If you strafe left and right, if you strafe left, you'll strafe left and you'll stop. If you strafe right, you'll strafe right a little bit and you stop. But if you go forward and back, you would continue to drift. That only happens when you're in sticky throttle mode. If you come out of sticky throttle mode, you don't get the drift anymore. And so controlling is easier. Now, the reason why that would be a pain in the butt is if you're going in a hangar in sticky throttle mode, and if you tapped your thing just to go forward a little bit, you would keep going forward and slam into the wall. So you just have to come out of sticky throttle mode, and then it goes back to handling the way it normally would handle back in the day. That's just something for me, y'all, because I was getting frustrated because I thought that my ship was always going to be that longitudinal crap. I thought was messing me up, but that wasn't what it was. It was just a sticky throttle thing. So that's all I want to say about master modes.
How about you, Mag?
I've been digging it so far. Not gonna lie, this is probably one of those things again where it's like, why? Some people might not be a fan of things becoming more complex, but I'm freaking loving it. I don't think it's that difficult to. It did take me a bit to realize, which again for new players, they need to tell them this. I'm hoping I didn't. Okay, my bad though. I did not try the tutorial. Maybe the tutorial explains master modes. Hopefully it does. So that's on me. So if it does, that's on me. Uneducated. But yeah. So either stick or I'm talking mouse specifically, you just have to middle mouse click and you're going in between the modes of SCM or nav. It took me, I think, like 2 or 3 days to realize that even existed. So yeah, it is very, it's easy though. Yeah. Same with like, I go back to PU and I'm like left clicking to try to enter quantum. And it's like, I'm like, it's not working. Oh, cause it's different. Yeah. But I think it's nice. Like I'm going back and forth between PU and EPTU, and I might not be like the same as everybody else, which that's fine. But I think it's like, it's pretty easy to get a grasp of. I don't do a lot of PvP fighting, so I'm sure that part is going to be a little interesting. People have probably like more educated different takes when it comes to that. But
And racing.
Yeah, racing too. But I mean, you can still go fast, and if you don't care about your shields, if you're crashing anyways. Why do you need shields? So I don't know. I think I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure those people have more educated like
suggestions for
opinions.
Right, yeah, about like racing and PvP. But in terms of just like playing, it seemed great. It seems great so far.
Can I ask a question, Meg?
Yeah.
I ran into this as a problem, and I think maybe suggestion. CIG, if you're listening, I think that they need to make sure that when we're going from SCM and nav mode, that turrets are notified what mode you're in. Because I was in a hammerhead, right? And I was ready to test my weapons to see if they were going. And, you know, I kept saying, what didn't I turn on? I could have swore I turned this on. I didn't know that he was in nav mode because it was a big ship. And in a big ship, you can't gauge speed as much. And so I'm asking what's going on. And then finally he says, oh, I'm in nav mode. And I realized, okay, weapons are shut off. So it would be kind of cool if there was an indicator that came up that lets me know that weapons are not available right now. So that way I'm not freaking out wondering whether my gun works or not, right? It's just because we're in nav mode. And then when it's in, when SCM, I'm in a weapons free, it could be a green light and a red light. There's something that indicates what the status is of the weapon. Because I was freaking out. I'm thinking, man, maybe this gun isn't working or it's bugged, and forgot. Yeah, he was in nav mode.
Yeah, I definitely experienced that as well.
Yeah.
That definitely, and I don't know if it works because it should be with all remote turrets, I think. So I was trying to use the C1 remote turret for the tractor beam, and I think I was in nav and I switched, and I should again need to further test that, but curious if that's the case too. I can't even tractor beam since that's technically a remote turret, but yeah, they definitely need to add something for that.
We got a question I think that's related, that's relevant. So this is from Cragon. Do you think the master modes and the disabling of weapons when trying to make rear-facing defensive turret pointless? Do you think master modes and disabling weapons when trying to run make rear-facing defensive turret pointless? So yeah,
I'm going to say no. And the only reason I'm going to say no is this is kind of like my light bulb, Cragon, that went off, and maybe I'm wrong. But anytime I'm in nav mode, for that other person to catch up with me, they've got to go into nav mode for the most part. Now, there are some ships that can go faster, right? But if I'm really moving quickly, just because I've made myself vulnerable, they have to do the same thing. They can't remain in combat mode. That's in theory, that's the way it's supposed to be, right? That they can't remain in combat mode. They may get a couple shots off on me, yeah. If I'm in that freelancer, my rear turret guy can't do anything while we're riding. But in order for them to catch up with me, they've got to become vulnerable too. Now, mind you, that's why I kind of started earlier saying I've only done it in small ships and maybe medium ships. I don't know what that's going to look like when you start flying things like a Carrack or a Hull C, the really big ships that have a certain spool time on them. I would assume that because they have the bigger spool times, that they also have a better defensive capability. Whether that's armor and shields. It seems like by the time your shields go down completely, you are ready to jump, right? Now, I could be wrong about that because I haven't tested every ship, but in general, that's cool. The other thing that's cool, and I know, Meg, maybe you can comment about this, buffers don't take that long either when you come out of nav. You do buffer up really quickly on the shields. It's not like when you first start up your ship and the shields take a long time to come up. They seem to come up pretty fast for me.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have anything for that, Meg, or are you good?
I think the only thing is like the big ships are still like pretty slow in nav. I think they speed up in space though. Like if you're in space, you got a better chance. But when you're in Atmo, you got to be committed to leaving.
Yep.
That's pretty much it. Because if that person's still trying to shoot you, they have to also switch and find your point and then spool. They can't do both at the same time anymore. So like they can't be like, oh, they're trying to jump here and you can still shoot while you're like spooling right behind them, like to like just like quickly track and keep following you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It definitely is unfortunate because we experienced that today. And I just at the same time, I'm curious, do shields even matter? Like, do y'all see your shields going down pretty quickly? or do you see them like actually staying up pretty well against people's shots?
You know, that's the thing I'd have to see is while I'm being attacked, because I've never been attacked in that process. You know, I had a couple of interdictions where it happened, and I didn't get damaged when it happened. So that's a good question. That's why I said I would love to be in a big ship, start getting attacked, and see whether or not my shields are going down even faster. But I know just when there is no attack, by the time those shields are down, I'm usually ready to jump at that same point almost. You know,
we're gonna try to. I'm gonna try to get through this question real quick. Just from Master Blaster, do you think bounties and PvP in general would be harder to force with the new master mode?
Harder to what?
I might have misread that when I responded. I hope that it's easier to fight bounties, if that's what you mean by force. Like force them to fight instead of leaving, because. Man, do I get freaking frustrated. I was just talking about it today. When I go to fight somebody or like, you know, take them out, provide some justice, and they just keep running. As soon as I get there, they quantum away. As soon as I get there, they quantum away. Come back here. And then they get in chat and they're like, you should have done this. You should have done that. Come back here. And fight me.
And I'll be telling Meg, nah.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Like, sorry, I was just gonna go about it.
All right, so up next we have stuff that didn't make it. We have reputation based hostility didn't make it. You want to go through one by one or all together?
Yeah, I mean, you could just name all three of them, and we'll just talk about them because of the time factor.
So didn't make it. Reputation based hostility, freight elevators, and hauling missions. So yeah. Griff, what do you think about this stuff that didn't make it into 323 so far?
Well, reputation hostility, as far as I know of, didn't make it. I do know that there is some hostility, though. Some of the distribution centers, like for example, the Grey Cat distribution center is you don't supposed to go there unless you've been invited. I think. I mean, you get shot at if you go there. We went to Dunborough and got shot at. We didn't even get to the distribution center. We got blown out of the sky, right? So I don't know that the reputation aspect of it is a part of it. I think there's some places that you can go to, like Sakura. You can fly there. If you don't have a mission, nobody's going to mess with you. Kovalex, I think, all depends. Right now, you do have aggressive facilities, like same as like we have with the bunkers back in the day, right? But man, the NPCs are really aggressive at those places. If you're not supposed to be there, they are really, really, really rough. The freight elevators, I know there was a lot of disappointment with that. People were looking forward to the cargo dynamic. And I think one of the reasons why people were so hyped about cargo and hauling is because it was a step closer to the economy, right? Being able to start dealing with trade and stuff. I know there's a lot of disappointment for it. But, you know, we saw what Chad McKinney said in relation to it. And it's true that it does connect to a lot of the different aspects of the game. It's not just about the hangars and your ships, but it is about inventory. It's about trade. It's about all the locations. You know, the freight elevators are also located at the different locations at moons and planets. And so it's not just about our hangars, but they have to be able to tie all that stuff in inventory wise. And they said they're close. So I'm hoping for a 3.2, 3.1, maybe that will get it at that point, or a 2.2. But it is going to be in 3.2.3. And I think we got a lot of stuff right now, as we just read, and we didn't even read everything that's going to be implemented right now. And let's face it, gang, CIG could not afford for that to be busted and broken with Invictus coming up in the free flight.
Right.
I mean, that's, as much as we may have tolerated it, it would not be a good look for CIG to put something that massive in the game. And if it's not functioning correctly with plenty of testing time, it would not go well. And the same, those of us who are complaining would be to see people complaining then if it ain't working.
Yep. You can't win anyways. You're either.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you have a commercial that says playable now, advertising on YouTube, and it's not really playable. But yeah, we'll go ahead, Meg. Sorry.
No.
What are you gonna say, Meg?
No, that's all I was saying. Was like,
oh,
yeah, you want something, but you're mad whenever it doesn't come to the game because they need to work on it a little bit more. Like you can't win with anything, honestly. But yeah.
Yeah, and real quick, I am disappointed that the personal interface won't be in at the start, but like Griff said, a 0.1 patch, 0.2 patch, it'll be in eventually. So yeah, I'll be able to decorate my hangers again, hopefully.
Yeah. I don't even care too much about that. I'm really looking forward to the freight elevators. I'm really tired of not being able to get out components or weapons and give those to my friends instead of them having to travel like across the verse to go get these things because they're only available at certain areas.
Well, they had personal hangers before in the game, but then they took it away. So that's why I'm looking forward for it to come back. So
yeah, I know a lot of people are hyped for it.
Don't listen to Meg. She's gonna be down there decorating that hanger. She already been slapping posters on the wall. She's gonna be down there decorating like crazy. Gonna be a freaking interior decorator later on.
I am. I really am.
I'm right there with you, Meg. Decorating my hanger.
Yeah.
We got to.
Let me say this real quick about the hauling missions, and I know that people have been really looking. You know, they just recently, I think they said, guys, they said that the Hull C is fixed now. I have yet to go on it yet because I usually do runs on the Hull C, but for those of you know, if you tried to walk through the Hull C, you would fall through it. They say that it's working now, and so the only thing left to do is get the docking set aspects of it fixed. So I want hauling missions to step up. Now I know CIG kind of hesitated a little bit about what was going to happen with the cargo decks, but CIG, please, 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 do not dismiss the cargo decks. We go to the cargo area to do our load up. Please let us go to the cargo area when we want to pick up our materials. I don't want to go to the admin office. Please you've got a station there with a dummy standing there, you know, a dummy NPC. Let me go over there and get my orders in. Look, it helps us to feel like we're immersive in being in the game. Going to the admin office does not do it. Going to the cargo decks, going to the terminals there, putting in our orders, changing our orders would be great. And I know that you're trying to work on the docking collars, but we want to get the docking collars going again too. Along so that we can secure them. Please don't leave the docking collar doors open for anybody to walk on our ships while we're gone. So anyway, that's all I want to say about the hauling missions. Okay.
All right. I think we have one question from Pot and Face. This is asked earlier on the show, but Griff, have there been any good changes with the Grey Cat distribution center on Hurston?
I'm not sure what Pops is referencing as a good change. The distribution centers are fabulous, Pops. I know we went there one time. I don't know if that was Grey Cat that we went to that one time, or I'll make it real quick. I'll tell it in 30 seconds. Meg, we went to one of the stations one day, and we took a Ursa. And it literally took us like 30 minutes to drive from the perimeter because on freaking Hurston, where there's trash and rocks everywhere, we couldn't get there. You know, it took a lot forever. When we got there, we saw about 5 guards standing off talking, and I got out to see whether or not they were aggressive, and lo and behold, they were more than aggressive. And we got into a firefight with them. We all piled back into the Ursa, and as you mentioned, Meg, they started coming out of the woodwork, right? They were coming from every direction. We gunned it. And I told Fist was driving, I said, gun it, man. Let's just go. Mow them down. We're mowing them down. You know, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, Meg, one of them glitched into the Ursa and started laying us out.
Oh, no.
Killed every one of us. He was standing up in the Ursa turn, went in the back, killed everybody, came in front and killed us.
No.
And that was it. That was weird.
All right, so we're going to wrap up. That was the Q&A.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
okay.
Well, listen, we appreciate you guys being here with us. Now, I don't know what that was. Not an ad, Master Blaster. I don't know what happened. We just got a weird bump, and we were still talking in Discord, so it wasn't the internet. I don't know, something maybe with Twitch or whatever. But anyway, we appreciate you guys being here today. There's a lot in 323. If you guys haven't had a chance to go in, I know they're still on wave 3, if I'm not mistaken. So please get out there. Test. I know it's frustrating, gang, but the more you guys do stuff and things crash out, the more data that you're giving the company so that they can get in there and fix things. So I know it gets frustrating, but even if you just hang out in there and just do simple things, every little bit you do helps. So please
also contribute on Issue Council.
Yes.
Write up tickets if you can't find any. If you find any, upvote, contribute. Don't be scared if you think yours is a duplicate. Just make it anyway. Someone will comment where the ticket actually is. Issue Council.
the feedback thread on not the A feedback thread, but the bunch of feedback threads on Spectrum. So go to those, and maybe a developer will address you. But even if a developer does not address you, they still read them. So any feedback, any constructive feedback would probably be good.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's talk about what we've got coming up, because we have some things coming up. FC, why don't you talk about Thursday?
Thursday is Soul Talk, where we get to talk about what's going on in Star Citizen that week. But the great thing is you get to come in to Discord and tell us your thoughts about what's going on in the community and Star Citizen in general. So we can normally cover ISC, cover SCL, and whatever else is going on that week. So that is Soul Talk on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC.
Meg, why don't you cover the next one? I got to get you in here.
Yeah, Soul Voices on Saturdays at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Same kind of theme. Everybody can hop into Discord if you'd like. Everyone's welcome to join. 3 p.m. Eastern time. Once again, don't be late. Cover things from Reddit, Twitter, Spectrum, all things from Star Citizen. And then I believe the podcast leads into Astropubs at 6 Eastern time, and then the relay. At 9. So a lot of podcasts on Saturday, but 3 p.m. Eastern time. Be there, be square. If you want your voice to be heard, join the Discord. And
I need to change that because Meg, believe it or not,
I was gonna say
that's what happens. That's what happens when you copy and paste things. We now will be starting at 2. I started an hour earlier.
Okay.
It's starting next week. Yeah, this week I was my regular time, but next week we're going to be starting in May, 1 hour earlier, because Paul has moved his show up from 4 o'clock to 3 o'clock now. So we're all kind of adjusting our times a little bit. So hopefully you guys, that was central. Yes, you guys can join us at that time next week for Soul Voices. Next Sunday, we're doing a show called Trade Secrets. This is going to be a show really talking about trading in the game. Now, we get it, right? The full economy's not in. We just got the monopoly money. But there are certain techniques and things that we've learned in the game right now. If you're interested in hauling, using your what's the thing called, the Freelancer Max, or you want to use your C2, you want to use your Hull A, whatever the case may be. If you're into this idea of doing trade, we're going to be talking about that a little bit, whether you're doing it for yourself or whether later on in the game you're going to be taking missions, what we would like to see in the game when it comes to trade in the economy. We're just talking about things like the cargo decks, all those things that are going to be a part of trading in the game. So if you guys are into that kind of thing, Scavenger says, I'm not telling my trade secrets. We're going to be talking about that next week. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that. It should be a really, really, really cool conversation next week at our new time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully you guys can join us for that. Okay, FC, you can close this out while I look for somebody for us to go visit.
I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank everybody in chat. Y'all have been active in chat. I'm trying to keep track of it, but yeah,
that's the truth.
It's been kind of impossible. Can we trade FC for another host? Maybe next week. We'll see.
Oh God! Trade FC.
Thank you, Meg, for coming. Hope you had fun. Thank you, Griff, for coming. Hope you had fun.
Yep, thank you for having me. Sorry about being late. No, it's professional.
You're good. No worries.
Always thankful to have my voice heard.
Happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I appreciate it.
All righty.
How many fast card jokes tonight? 0?
Oh God, don't get him started. Jeez, OP.
Hey, well, if you want me to give you a joke, man, all you have to do is ask.
No, oh God, please don't.
No, there was one joke. Have you been singing? Do you believe you can fly?
Yes, he did have one. He did have one.
True.
He did have one. That's what happened. We got to keep him busy as the host. If we keep him busy as the host asking questions, we don't have to worry about getting their jokes. That's going to be the switch. That's it.
Don't tell him that, Griff.
I know.
No.
All right, guys. Anyway, thank you guys for being here with us. We appreciate you. We're going to send you guys over to Maiden Ariana. Maiden Ariana's on right now. When you get over there, give her some love from us. Make sure you like and follow her. She's a really great streamer, been around a good little while. And she just reached partner, so she's been a very happy person recently. Thank you guys as always. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow. And until next time, Stay safe. Peace, love, soul. See you guys later. Have a great week.